Soul is probably Aristotle's most powerful concept. Now, no doubt you've often heard the word soul and wondered if it refers to anything real. Well, with Aristotle, it's got nothing to do with superstition or magic or religion or anything like that. Instead, it's a basic concept necessary for understanding the reality of any living thing. So, what is it for something to be alive, a living thing? Well, to be alive, you have to be a body, but that body has to be a functioning unity. When a body's dead, it's not really a body anymore. It's not really an it. It's a bunch of stuff that doesn't hold together, and that's we say it decomposes, right? And the different bits of it go off in different directions. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that has no integrity. It doesn't hold together. But when it's alive, all of that is an it. All of it is a one, a unity. And that unity is really what Aristotle designates by the word soul. So the soul is not a separate thing from the body. The soul is the unity of the body. It's the body as it is organized into being a functioning one. And so the soul is the form of the body. But when I say form, I don't mean a shape stamped on something. I mean the very defining identity of it. The thing's form is what it is. It's what it does. It's what it's about for it to be that thing. So there are basically two kinds of living things, plants and animals. So what's it like to be a plant? Well, a plant is a body, a piece of grass, a tree, whatever it is, but it's a body that grows. It takes in nutriment from the soil and whatever it gets from the sun and the air and all the rest, right? It takes that in, and its body amplifies. It grows, and it doesn't just quantitatively increase. It also goes through qualitative changes, right? It goes from being a little sapling or whatever to something that develops, let's say, branches and leaves or eventually fruit, but it goes through all the stages of its own proper developmental process, right? That's what growth is, but that's all enacted as the ongoing changes, the ongoing transformations of that body that are carried out through the practice of nutrifying itself from its environment, right? And so that is the life of the plant, right? To be that plant is to be that process of living. It is to be that body in that process of developmental transformation. So you can't really, again, differentiate soul and body in the sense of saying they're two different things. Really, there is one thing there, which is that process of growth. And you name it as a body when you're identifying it as a kind of material it. And you identify it as a soul. You name it as a soul when you identify it as the form of that process. But those are really two ways of talking about the same thing, which is that form of living. Right? And so plants, all the different plants, what makes them plants is that they are those processes of self-nutrition and growth and ultimately reproduction. The animals do that too, but they add something further to it. They have a further function that defines their unity. They still have to go through that process of nutrition and growth and reproduction, but they add basically three more functions or three more dimensions of function: sensation, desire, and movement with respect to place. Animals have to feed themselves, but with animals it doesn't just happen automatically through their roots bringing in nutriment from the soil. They have to, get their food and eat it. So they have to be able to detect when their food is present, right? They have to be able to sense. And they also have to want it because they have to do the action of taking it in and ingesting it. And also they have to then be able to move themselves, whether to get to the place where it is or to grab the thing they're going to eat, or move their jaws, whatever it is. So animals are, again, a functioning unity, but their unitary function adds sensing, desiring, and motion to that more basic set of functions, nutrition, reproduction, and growth that we saw in the plant. So that's the core difference between plants and animals. But again, in each of us, whenever you see a plant or an animal, what you're seeing is a body that exists as the unity of functioning. It is unified as a functioning, and its functioning is the carrying out of a certain form of life, a certain life process. Right? And again, the body names that thing as, a material unity. The soul names that thing as the form of that process. Well, so I said there are two basic kinds of living things, plants and animals. Well, what about us? Well, we're an animal. But Aristotle says we're the animal with logos. What does that mean? Well, we have the capacity to figure stuff out. And we also have the capacity to express that to others. We're animals, but we're animals that can figure out and express. We're animals that can take account of things and give an account to others. So that's the ability that Aristotle calls logos. He says we're the animal with logos, the animal that can give accounts. And so that means that, like any other animal, we're living bodies, nutrition, reproduction, and growth, that sense and desire and move locally. But we also have this shocking thing, which is the ability to access reason, or what he calls nous, or mind. So it's not quite true to say that we are minds, or even really that we have them, but that we have the capacity to access mental life. And that's our capacity of logos, our capacity to give accounts. And so that is the distinctive character of the human soul, that we're animals with that extra capacity. And that means that, like a rose or like a horse, the human being has its own distinctive life form that really is what we're doing. And that ends up dictating for us what it takes to fulfill ourselves. So next time we can consider what it takes to fulfill the needs of the animal with logos.